What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing my breakdown of the bracket post the first round. It was an exciting weekend of watching college basketball. A little bit different watching it on a Friday and a Saturday, the first round, instead of a Thursday, Friday. However, it was still a lot of fun, and I actually had a blast watching college basketball. I love seeing how my predictions turn out to be way different than I was expecting, especially with a couple teams. But for this video, I'm going to break down what I think will happen post the first round of the NCAA tournament. So sit back and relax. You're probably going to be watching this during the games because I woke up on Sunday morning getting ready for the first round, and I'm making this video as fast as possible for you. So I hope you enjoy. This is obviously just for fun. This is still what I think will happen. Obviously, the East region changed a lot because I had Texas getting to the Final Four, but I did watch every single game during the first round, so I think I kind of have a good feeling of how teams are going to keep playing, but that remains to be seen. You just have to watch the video and find out what I think. So let's start from the top. Obviously, Gonzaga looked really good. They're playing Oklahoma, and obviously I'm going to still keep up with my prediction of Gonzaga winning it all. That's not going to change. And I did tell myself that if I thought it would be ironic if they played Oklahoma, because Virginia in 2019 played Oklahoma in the first round and went to the won it all. So I think that Gonzaga is going to beat Oklahoma, obviously. And then for Creighton versus Ohio, I'm so happy Ohio won. And Creighton, honestly, I think they didn't look great versus Santa Barbara. They definitely could have lost. But I'm going to go with Creighton actually in this game. Just like my actual bracket, I had Creighton advancing. I love Ohio's story, but I think that Creighton has the guards to match up with, Jason Preston. Then for USC and Kansas, I think that I'm going to go with USC. However, I thought Kansas actually looked pretty good. I was going to be concerned on how they were going to play, but Bill Self's great at making adjustments. But I'm going to ride with the Trojans just based on my bracket because that's what I actually had. Then for Oregon, VCU, obviously, or Oregon and Iowa, that was terrible to see what happened with VCU. I mean, no one wanted to see that. I feel terrible for them. But Oregon advanced, and they're going to play Iowa. And I thought Iowa actually looked pretty good versus Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon matched up with them a little bit, but I don't think Oregon's going to have a big down low to be able to stop Luka Garza and being able to kick it inside out. So moving down, we have Michigan and LSU. This is going to be a great game. LSU looked pretty good in my opinion. And even though I love this Michigan team, I'm actually going to go with the upset here. Because I said in my breakdown video that this was one of the things that was holding me back. I was a little nervous about LSU playing great defense, and I thought they could beat Michigan. So I'm actually going to go with that in my bracket. And I thought that a home court advantage for these teams would matter a lot more. But honestly, after watching all of the first round, the Big Ten teams and teams that were close in proximity did not have the advantage I was expecting. So I'm going to ride with the Tigers there. Then for Colorado and Florida State, here's another prediction that I'm changing. I had Florida State in the Elite Eight. However, I think they turned the ball over way too much. It was very frustrating watching them play UNC Greensboro. And this Colorado team looked pretty good, in my opinion. I don't expect them to shoot the three like they did versus Georgetown because they looked like the 2016 Warriors out there. But I still think Colorado is good enough to advance in this game. Then we have UCLA and Abilene Christian. It sucks that Texas lost, in my opinion. However, Abilene Christian, they played great defense, so you got to give them props there. And this UCLA team, they're a resilient bunch. Mick Cronin is honestly, I'm so happy for Mick Cronin. I know that he wasn't my first choice for the UCLA job, but he is doing a fantastic job with this team. And honestly, they could have been a great team this year, but they had a guy turn to the G League that would have been great on their roster. But I'm going to trust UCLA here. I think that they can get scrappy with teams, and they play hard for Mick Cronin, so I'm going to go with the Bruins to beat Abilene Christian. Then for Maryland and Alabama, congrats to Maryland. They proved me wrong. You know what? They didn't end their season great. I'm pretty sure they lost to both Northwestern and to Nebraska right before the Big Ten tournament. So, that's just typical Maryland. They always prove you wrong when you think that they're not going to be good. But I still think that this Alabama team, I trust them a little bit more. I'm not very high on Alabama. I'm not very high on Maryland. You know what, Maryland, I'll give you props. Yeah, you made it to the round of 32. But I think that Alabama just has way too much shooting. They're gonna be ready for this game. So I'm gonna go with the Tide. Okay, so moving on to the top right, we have Baylor versus Wisconsin. I'm a little nervous. I actually prefer this matchup over North Carolina because I thought North Carolina would get up and down the court and, have a fast pace. But I'm going to trust Baylor's guards here, so I have them beating Wisconsin. Hopefully I'm not wrong on that one. Then we have Villanova and North Texas. Congrats to Villanova. That was a great win. They looked honestly pretty good. And, North Texas beating Purdue in Indianapolis was wild to me. But I think the run ends there. I'm going to have Villanova getting to the Sweet 16. Good for Villanova. They're a team that I was hoping would do a little bit better, and they're going to obviously get to the Sweet 16 in my opinion. So congrats, Jay Wright. Awesome job. Really good coach. Okay, now we have Texas Tech and Arkansas. You know what? Texas Tech looked really good in my opinion. They were one of the teams that impressed me the most during the first weekend. And then Arkansas, they start out slow versus Colgate, but they got it rolling. And I'm going to go with my actual prediction. I still like Arkansas here. This is going to be the game that I'm going to be tuned into. I cannot wait to watch this game. Chris Beard versus Eric Musselman. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. They should, honestly, those two coaches should play each other every year. So I'm going to go with the Hogs there. Okay, Florida and Oral Roberts. This Florida team, they always do it to me. It's always the teams that I'm like, no way. And they're like, yeah, psych. We're going to go further in the tournament than you expect. And I think that Florida beats Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts played a perfect game versus Ohio State. And this Florida team, just somehow, some way, they always prove me wrong. And I'm going to have Florida getting to the Sweet 16. You know what? I can't hate it because obviously getting far in the tournament is not an easy accomplishment. I know they've had a crazy season, but I think the Gators are just more talented, and I think their guards can slow down Oral Roberts guards. Okay, Illinois versus Loyola. That's going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch that game. I have Illinois beating Loyola. Sister Jean, the Magic, I'm going to have it ending there. However, this is the first game, and I can't wait to watch this game because if Loyola wins this game, that would just be insane. I think it could happen. I don't think it will. Oregon State versus Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. Congrats to Oregon State. Once again, proving people wrong. They looked great. And I'm going to have to go with Cade Cunningham. He's just too good. Okay, then we have Syracuse versus West Virginia. I'm a little nervous about the zone for West Virginia. However, I love Deuce McBride. They looked really good versus Morehead State, so I'm going to go with the Mountaineers. And then Rutgers and Houston. I think this game could get ugly, but I just don't think Rutgers has the scoring to keep up with Houston. So I'm going to go with Houston. All right, let's move on. So we have Gonzaga Creighton. I'm going to have Gonzaga. And then Iowa versus USC. I'm going to have Iowa. And then LSU versus Colorado. I'm going to go with LSU. I just think they have too much scoring, and their starting five is really clicking right now. And then we have UCLA versus Alabama. I wanted to pick UCLA, but I still think Alabama gets to the Elite Eight. They just have way too much talent not to. Then we have Baylor versus Villanova. I'm going to have Baylor beating Villanova. And then we have Arkansas versus Florida, and I'm going to have Arkansas winning. Then we have Illinois versus Oklahoma State. I kind of want to go Oklahoma State, but I think that Illinois, the way they played versus Drexel, what's Drexel? And the way they've played towards the end of the season, it's hard not to go with the Illini. They are really clicking right now. And then West Virginia versus Houston. Here's an upset. I have West Virginia winning. That's what I had in my bracket. Honestly, I have this whole bottom right, at least from San Diego State to Cleveland State, that region, or at least section. I have that all right so far. So I'm gonna stick with my predictions and go with West Virginia. Okay, so to get to the Final Four, Gonzaga versus Iowa. Honestly, Iowa looks pretty good, but I'm still going to ride with Gonzaga. They just look way too good. And then LSU versus Alabama. I'm going to have LSU getting to the Final Four. I didn't want to go straight chalk to you guys, and I was impressed by LSU's defense versus St. Bonaventure, so I'm going to ride with them. Sorry, Alabama, but I think that they're going to get payback. Nate Oates pissed off Will Wade, in my opinion, after winning the SEC championship versus LSU, and I think that's the perfect payback game for them. Then Baylor versus Arkansas. I think this will be a fantastic game. I could totally see Arkansas winning, but I'm going to ride with my Baylor Bears, baby. I think that they just have enough talent to, at the very least, get to the Final Four. And then Illinois versus West Virginia. I'm going to go with Illinois, just like in my original bracket. So the Final Four is set, 3-1 seeds. Those were the three teams that I had all along. And then we have the East region where, the East region, you could make an argument for literally every team in the East to make the Final Four. Heck, even Abilene Christian. So I'm going to ride with LSU. I think that they just have the three players I trust the most, and Javonte Smart, Trendon Watford, and obviously Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas has been playing outstanding. So to get to the national championship game, Gonzaga versus LSU, I'm going to have Gonzaga. I think that Gonzaga has a great road to get at least to the national championship game. So, and then Baylor versus Illinois. This is one of those games where I can definitely see Illinois winning for sure, the way they're playing. However, I'm going to ride it out with Baylor. This was my favorite team I saw in college basketball this year. So I'm going to have to keep riding with them. And then Gonzaga versus Baylor for the national championship game. I'm going to ride with Gonzaga. They've just looked way too good, and they're clicking on all cylinders. So that's going to do it for this video. I'm obviously going to do another one for the Sweet 16 when the round of 32 ends. So look out for that video. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. Enjoy the rest of the round of 32. This is going to be a lot of fun. All day basketball has been happening for the past 2 days. Let's do it 2 more days. I love this sport. It's honestly so unpredictable. Like, there's no reason I expected to see like a UCLA, a Maryland, an Abilene Christian get farther in the tournament, a Florida. It's so, like, this sport is so unpredictable, and that's why I love it so much, because even when you think even when you do your research, even when you sit there and watch games and, contemplate for hours, none of it matters, because whatever you're thinking is not going to happen, just like this video. So, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video. Peace.